Storytelling. Marketers tell you it's essential and writers roll their eyes. Of course it's essential. Stories are life, and yet it's often very hard to get anyone to pin down exactly what storytelling means or how you do it for a beauty brand. I touched on this gap between expectations and actual skill in previous videos, but I want to look more specifically at brand storytelling because there's a lot of mystery around it, and there shouldn't be. If you're quietly ashamed of yourself because you nod along knowingly when other people discuss the critical power of storytelling for brand marketing, then you're in the right place. Let go of the shame, acknowledge that no one's ever managed to tell you exactly what it means to weave your story into your material, and then let me be the person to throw the mystery out the window. Storytelling doesn't have to be a complicated process. And the reason it doesn't have to be complicated is that the story already exists. Your job is simply to identify it, tease out the details, and then present them in a way that's engaging and functional. I could write you a book about how and where to find elements of a story in your brand journey, but the simplest way is to break it down and learn by doing. So right now, I invite you to create these 3 stories for your brand. The first one, the people just like you story. One of the most powerful stories you can tell about your brand isn't actually your brand at all. It's about your customers. It's the story that shows potential new customers how people just like them found what they needed when they purchased your brand. The story that says people just like you, when the same obstacles and the same objections were satisfied and felt better after they engaged with your brand. This story is one that you should be really clear on and that you can run like a golden thread through almost all of your content marketing output. It blends social proof, relatability with the product education and the promise of happiness, and it's really effective. It's most effective though when it's a true story. So don't start casting around in your head for imagery problems your customers might have and made up ways in which your brand solved those problems. Instead, go to your real customers, and if you're right at the start of the journey and you haven't converted any customers yet, then go to your market research. The first essential component of this story then is truth. And the second essential component is that you never actually need to say, this person was just like you. You just provide enough information for each individual to place themselves as the main character in the story. The structure of this story is really straightforward. Something was wrong. Someone tried your brand they weren't sure about, but they decided to give it a go. The thing that was wrong got better. One of the most effective ways to sell this story is through testimonials. Yes, real ones, because they've got to be true. But you can also pull together case stories and tell the story from your own brand voice. Here's a testimonial example. Before I tried this great beauty brand, I was always self-conscious about how dull and tired my skin looked. I work a lot and I have young children, so I don't have a lot of time for self-care or sleep. I tried other skincare products before, so I thought this great beauty brand would give me similarly disappointing results. But the product ingredients sounded great, so I decided to give it one try. And I never looked back. This great beauty brand's products are a staple in my life now because they really work. My skin looks dewy and fresh and it feels smooth and healthy. Instead of looking ghostly grey, I look in the mirror and recognize myself again. The best thing about a testimonial story like this is that your customers or your market research participants do most of the work for you. Their story about a brand will make you stand out from the plethora of brands that are just telling their own commercial stories without elevating the impact stories their customers might have to share. The second way is the elevator pitch story. Your brand's own commercial story is important too, of course, but you can make it stand out by keeping it brilliantly simple, compressing it down into an elevator pitch story that says what's important, but doesn't try to take away from what really matters, your customers. An elevator pitch story about your brand journey shows that you understand your journey, but that your brand isn't a narcissistic exercise in I'm so greatery. It's a brand that's doing a job. You can communicate how the brand came to be with confidence and clarity, but you don't need to take up hours of people's time to do that. Here's a simple way to practice writing your brand's elevator pitch story. Just fill in the gaps. It's hard to insert action when insert customer's problem. When we change insert customer focused approach to problem by insert brand solution. so that how the problem gets better. What this might look like in real terms could be, it's hard to put yourself out there when you don't feel confident about your skin. We change our relationship with skincare by giving you the right ingredients and the right knowledge to care for your unique skin. So that when you go out into the world, you feel confident that your natural beauty is more than enough. You might notice that I said this elevator pitch story was about your brand, but the example I've given is once again all about your customer. Because the reality is that your customers hear stories that center them in the narrative much more clearly than they hear stories about brands' inception or growth. If you do need to tell a specifically brand-focused story though, you can use the same structure like this. It's hard for a new beauty brand to find its place in an oversaturated market. We're changing the public perception of cosmetics brands by changing the relationship our customers have with their skin, using science-based, bespoke formulas to meet their unique needs. So that when a customer uses our products, they know they're getting more than a pot of moisturizer. They're getting a new way of being. Number 3 is the transformation story. Your brand's transformation story is about the movement you're entering into, or even better, the movement you're starting. And to tell the story of a movement, all you really need to do is widen your perspective. What bigger conversations is your brand entering into? What social problems are you addressing? What common goal do you and your ideal customers share? The transformation story isn't just about individuals. It's perhaps even less about your brand than the previous 2 stories. It's about the culture you operate in, the kind of future you want to create. Our brand is creating a future in which everyone feels beautiful. Our brand is creating a future in which no harm comes to animals, people, or the planet in making these cosmetics products. Our brand is creating a future in which beauty standards no longer exist. Your brand's transformation story encompasses the mission. It's your why. And it'll give your customers a reason to stay with you for the journey. So what are your 3 stories? Instead of getting tied up in the semantics of storytelling and what it really means to tell a story, focus on learning by doing. Tell your brand story in these 3 ways and customers will understand exactly what you're about.